DEWALT added another model number to their 20 volt lineup. This is the DEWALT 20 volt 4.5 to 5 inch angle grinder with FlexVolt Advantage. So that means that with a FlexVolt battery in it, DEWALT claims it's going to give you 50% more power than with a standard 20 volt battery. That's a big claim. So we're going to put that to the test. We're going to go over why you might want to buy this tool if you are in the FlexVolt lineup. Maybe not to, but we'll go over all that stuff. And there's some good information here, so stick with us. Before we get into this big mess of what's going to happen, I want to explain a little bit about what I have on the desk and why it's all here. This is the DCG414. This is the old FlexVolt. I pulled this out of my toolbox and took off the 4-inch guard that was on it because I run the 414 with the 4-inch guard. I run the 418, the new FlexVolt, with the 6-inch guard, and that's the way it goes. I'm going to use the 418 in this tool test because it just makes more sense to compare new to new. So this kind of screws up what I have going, but it kind of tells you a little bit about what I have set up and why. I really like the FlexVolt grinder because of how it's run, the small grip, but it is longer. So when we look at the new Power Advantage, it is significantly shorter. That is one reason why I could see someone picking up this Power Advantage tool and saying, hey, I like it because I can still use my FlexVolt battery or 20 volt, whatever I need, and get into smaller places. That makes sense here. The specs on these are very similar. Where they start to get dissimilar is this is a 2300 watt output for the actual FlexVolt. The FlexVolt Advantage is a 1550 watt output. That is significantly less. So we're going to know there's a power decrease from the FlexVolt down to here. You can compare that watt output to any other tool that's out there and say what's it going to give you, and it'll give you a pretty close specs as to if this is worth picking up compared to some of the other tools. They both have a 9,000 RPM no load limit, 3.92 pounds, significantly lighter than the FlexVolt tool. Has the e-clutch, e-brake, kickback system, all that stuff. I want to bring you in and show you the back of both of these tools. This 20 volt tool is not kicking up to 60 volts. It's just taking advantage of the 3P battery and the extra wattage that's being put out by the FlexVolt batteries. Let's come in and look at that, then let's get to grinding. All FlexVolt tools have 6 pins, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that's allowing them to use the 60 volts in the battery. This tool simply has 4. Try to get the light right. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it's still running everything on 20 volt. The big difference here on this one is going to be the paddle switch. It's very comfortable. The safety is easy to use. You do have multiple positions for your auxiliary handle. Your brake is up top, and you have the same type of system for putting your discs on as you do the FlexVolt. So things are going to be very similar with this. It's just a little bit smaller and has a different style trigger, a little bit more body to this one. Let's get it out, do some grinding. Because we're testing power, I want to make some cuts going directly into the side of this metal, and we'll just see how this works with a new cutting blade on the FlexVolt Advantage, and then we'll move over to the FlexVolt. We'll start out with a 5 amp hour battery. Probably pretty tough to see what's going on. Cutting wheel might not be the best application here, but let's move up to 8 amp hour battery. So I can definitely feel the difference in that. I hope it's able to be seen. We have more things we can put on here, but here's the 9 amp hour FlexVolt. That's the first time I can actually say that I had a tool that the 9 amp hour FlexVolt just really rocked it. Here is the new FlexVolt, new disc though, same 9 amp hour battery. Serious difference, right? Serious, but we're not comparing this to the other tool because we already know this is 2300 watts, this is 1550. Either way, FlexVolt battery made a difference. Let's change up and do something different to try to show a little more of a comparison. So we have 2 grinding wheels, same on each one, both of them pretty much new. We are going to start out with the 5/8 FlexVolt, same thing, same gig. I'm thinking the grinding wheels are going to show us a little bit more of the power difference between the 5/8 and the FlexVolt. That's really what we're concentrating on here. Let's get it. Obviously no one should ever push that hard, but just for testing, giving it, let's see what the 8 does. Can honestly say on that one, in this test, I don't feel a difference between the 5 and the 8 to a point. Let's see what the FlexVolt does. That was incredibly weird. Full power, it just died on me there. That's incredibly interesting, and I would highly suggest you don't try this, but I was able to kill the other two pretty easy. Check this one out. It takes a ton more force to kill it, and you can see there's a huge increase even from the 8 in the 5 up to this 9. Let's move over to the FlexVolt. Ton more power, obviously, as we expected, but totally different tool, different situation. Let's try a sanding disc. This flap disc might show us a little bit more. 40 grit flap disc. My goal here is to compare a little bit more between the 8 and the 9, but of course we got to put the 5 in here. So start there. Of course, a little more pressure than normal, just trying to hear it through a little bit and let you hear that there was quite a bog there, but still fairly impressive. Here's the 8. Similar amount of bog, which is surprising. When we use the circular saw, we've seen a good power increase from the 8. Let's go to the 9 FlexVolt. That is twice where this tool has just said and died on me, which is interesting. It's got to be something with the amount of pressure or an e-brake. I'm going to definitely look into that a lot more. But there's a huge difference again between the 8 and the 9. Let's jump over and just show you the FlexVolt with the same disc. Again, in this application, I really like the FlexVolt because it's given me more power, it's given me more control, and it just makes the job easier. But at the same place, this is not a small place to get into where this tool would work a lot better. At the same point, with the FlexVolt battery, this is actually impressive. So there's a lot to talk about there. First, it is cold outside, so I apologize for any sniffling or anything else. First thing that's big that sticks out to me is this tool cut out a couple times on me. Just kind of seemed like the power just died and slowly ramped itself down. It does have a soft start, but that's what it felt like it did, and it just shut down. Now I'm gonna look at some of the video and see. I'll try to leave some of the ideas in the comments. You guys do that also, but that was weird. So I did some more testing at the end of the video, kind of pushing this thing around, getting it to cut off with its kickback brake, testing some of that out. I'll put that at the end, let you guys watch it. No sense in putting it in here now. That was super interesting. It could be a one-off too. This is 101, so I actually could have a problem I find out longer term down the road. This is obviously a short-term review. What also was interesting to me was that the 5 amp hour battery and the 8 amp hour battery gave me a similar power or similar result as far as power being produced by the tool, and it was a significant jump to move up to the FlexVolt. That is not something we found in the circular saw, and if you haven't watched the circular saw video, I highly suggest you go back. It does make it a little more confusing because the 8 amp hour battery in the circular saw definitely gave it a boost, and I think that's an easy one to look at and see the speed of the cut. The FlexVolt did actually jump that one up also, but these two were closer, where in this test, I don't think the 8 amp hour 20 volt and the 9 amp hour FlexVolt were even close. The FlexVolt just seemed to give this tool a lot more power. So that is another reason, I guess, why I think this tool is worth it, smaller, and you do get a big jump by using the FlexVolt battery over any of the 20s. If you look on Home Depot online, they have this for sale in a kit. I got this one bare tool, but the kit is expensive with 3 batteries. I think it was like $378. It comes with one 6 amp hour FlexVolt battery, a charger, in this tool. Whereas if you dump back to the old model FlexVolt, the 414, which is still more powerful than this guy by 400 or so watts, you can get 2 batteries, granted old style, and a charger in that tool for about the same price. Again, tough call. Newest, latest, greatest, what do you want? All that stuff. But if you're just thinking about getting work done and you just need one grinder, that deal at Home Depot is probably the best. If you wanted the new tool, the new FlexVolt, the 418, obviously then prices jump up again. All these are very expensive. Runtime on all of them is going to be fairly light. That is the kicker with angle grinders. Down to 2 bars on the 9 amp hour, 2 bars on the 8, full charge on the 5, which kind of surprises me. We've done tests before where we're getting 4 to 5 minutes of grinding time on a 5 to 6 amp hour battery. It's just kind of how it goes. If you're pushing these tools very hard, they will like to eat up batteries. This tool particularly, the FlexVolt Advantage, first one I've run across that I said, yes, this is where I'd go. But if you have the FlexVolt battery already, you're probably going to want the FlexVolt Grinder. So that's an easy choice, right? What am I going to buy? Am I going to get the FlexVolt Advantage, or am I going to get the FlexVolt actual tool? Right, if you want power, go with the FlexVolt tool. But if you need something that's just a touch smaller to get in different places where you can use a smaller battery, and if we just throw the 5 on here in the 9, there is an angle difference in the back if you look at how they put these together. And see how much more room you actually get? I think that is a good complementary grinder for smaller areas, tighter stuff, lighter duty work, no doubt. But at the same point, it'll fit in places. Even if you look at the front, it's definitely smaller. It'll get in there. So this is a good complementary tool that I think is well worth picking up if you do a lot of grinding and welding and you needed something smaller. That makes sense. I like that, because when you were looking at the circular saw world, the video back, you know, I mean, it was an easy choice. If you want power, you go with the FlexVolt. If you don't have FlexVolt batteries, you get the 20 volt. But this one, right, obviously to get the FlexVolt Advantage, you got to have the FlexVolt battery. So it makes sense. I like the power difference. You could feel it. You should have been able to see it, no issue. That is cool. Now, I'm going to go back to my prior setup still, put the 4-inch on the, or 4.5, 5-inch on the 414, 6-inch on the 418, and 4.5, 5-inch on the 416, just to give me, again, a good variety of power, small disc, smaller, small disc, and larger disc, good amount of power. Gives me a way to get things done. The right tool for the right job. That's what it's all about, having everything set up so you can just get out, get a job done quick, not get frustrated with it. First, you'll make more money if you're doing it for business. 2, you'll do a better job on it because everything's set up. You're excited, you're energized, you're ready to go. You don't have to search for stuff. Stay organized, have the right tools, get stuff done. That's the way it is. We appreciate your time, guys. Give us a like in this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We have more of these tools to go over to see if the FlexVolt Advantage is actually an advantage or not. So we'll continue to get things together for you guys. Stick with us as we go through that. Thanks for your time. Have a great day. Doesn't make a lot of sense why this is dying, so I'm just going to put some time on it here and see what I can come up with. That's probably the kickback, I'm guessing, although I did it before.